Hi guys, welcome back to Simply Blissful Living. This is Romy, and today I'm bringing you a recipe for chicken chopsuey made Fijian Indian style or Fijian style. This is typically how it's made on the islands. There's not a lot of Chinese people, or the population of Chinese people in Fiji isn't large. However, they do have a huge influence in some of our dishes, and this is something that you can find in a lot of restaurants in Fiji now. So I wanted to share this recipe with you just in case you're abroad or would like to make this at home. This is a very delicious recipe and anybody can prepare this. The ingredients can be changed, the vegetables can be changed. So let's get right into the recipe. So for this recipe, you will need a few ingredients. Let's start off with the sauces. I have 1 tablespoon of dark soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of light soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce or pick-me-up sauce if you're in Fiji. This is basically a steak sauce. 1 cup of onions. I chopped them in 2 different ways. Half of it is like a diced or a finely chopped version, and this is when we're gonna cook the chicken initially. So you wanna separate the 2. And then the other half is in slices, like this. Half a cup of bell peppers. You can use any color of your choice. And then I have half a cup of celery here that I've chopped with the greens and all. I have 2 cups of carrots that I've sliced into matchsticks or julienne. I need 4 cups of bok choy. So I'm going to show you how we typically slice it. So this is what bok choy looks like. It comes in a little head like this. And in Fiji it's called cabbage ke bhaji or cabbage. But it's everywhere else it's known as bok choy. So you take 1 leaf, and typically this is how it's done in Fiji. You remove the white part and then you just slice it into slices like that. And then the green part, or the leafy green part, you just slice it in half, or you just kind of tear it in pieces. And so we're getting about 4 to 5 cups of that. 8 cloves of garlic, 1 inch of ginger, and chili peppers to taste. So I'm using about 2 serrano peppers here because my husband doesn't like it too spicy. 1 pound of chicken thighs. This is boneless, skinless chicken thighs. You can use any cut of meat. I like to use boneless. You can use bone-in if you prefer. It's totally up to you. On the islands they use bone-in most of the time, but then it is becoming quite popular to have the boneless version at the restaurants. And then you're gonna need some cooking oil of your choice, about a couple of tablespoons of that. So the first thing I'm gonna do is grind up my garlic cloves, ginger, and peppers. Okay, so I have my garlic, ginger, and chili peppers grinded up. Set that aside. The next thing you wanna do is take the chicken, and we're gonna take about 1/3 of the garlic ginger mixture here and dump that in here. And then we're gonna take the dark soy sauce. So I'm gonna use about half a tablespoon of that now. And then half a tablespoon of the Worcestershire sauce. And I'm just gonna mix this really well. This is to marinate it. Okay, so I'm gonna let this set aside for about 20 to 30 minutes minimum. You can do this overnight and just leave it in the refrigerator overnight. So I have a pretty big pan here. This is a skillet that I have on high heat here. And I am going to add a couple of tablespoons of oil. Once the oil is hot, we're gonna go in with our bell peppers. These are the small sliced ones. The diced onions. And the celery. And now we're gonna go in with the marinated chicken. Add a little bit of salt to this. You want to be careful with how much salt you add to this dish because we do have soy sauce in this. And then if you want, you can add some freshly ground black pepper. So we want to brown this for about 5 minutes. My heat is still on high, and we're gonna just let this cook for about 5 minutes with the cover off. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes and I've been mixing this. And as you can see, the chicken is browned really well. Now we're gonna go in with the rest of the bell peppers, the rest of the onions, the carrots. I'm gonna stir this in really nicely. Okay, we're gonna put a cover on this now. Drop the heat to medium and let it cook for about 5 to 7 minutes. So it's been about 5 minutes and everything is cooked quite nicely here. So what you're looking for is for your carrots to be tender at this point, not mushy, but when you break it with your spoon or spatula, it just breaks easily. So that's an indication that was enough time. We're gonna go in with all the sauces that are left over. So half a tablespoon of the pick-me-up or Worcestershire sauce, half a tablespoon of the dark soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of the light soy sauce. I'm gonna stir all of this in really nicely. So this is why I noted that we need to make sure that we don't put too much salt in this, because it will get super salty because of the soy sauce. So if you add too much salt, it might get too salty. So, you know, if you want, just don't add any salt throughout the cooking process and just adjust it at the end. Now we're gonna go in with the bok choy. The bok choy takes the least amount of time to cook, and it releases of its own juices or some water content into the dish. I'm gonna mix this in really well. And you'll notice once you cover this that the bok choy shrinks a lot, which is why I'm using so much of it. Let this cook for a couple of minutes covered, and my heat is on medium-high. So it's been about 2 minutes, and I'm going to use a wooden spoon and just scrape the bottom of this pan. This is where all the goodness and the good flavors are. Because the bok choy releases some juices, it softens it all up, so it's really easy to just scrape the bottom and the sides. You want to get all the little flavor off of the pan, and at this point your dish is actually done. I'll turn the heat off. So I let the chop suey sit for about 10 minutes in the pan with the heat off, but the cover off, and then I just served it with a side of rice. You can use any type of rice of your choice. That's how it's usually served in Fiji, and with a side of cucumbers. Having it with a side of cucumbers actually brings back a lot of memories of when I used to eat this on the islands, because at the restaurants they usually have the piping hot dish served with cucumbers, so the cucumber flavor kind of just gets intermingled with the chop suey, so it is absolutely delicious. So if you have cucumbers, slice them up and serve it on the side, and it tastes really, really good.